Alright, so here's a pretty simple repair that I had come in. This is some dude's little utility trailer. I've actually had a trailer like this. I mean, they're not bad for what they are. I mean, they're definitely not a Maritz dump trailer. That's the black thing over on the side of this. But, you know, they're for what they are, they're pretty decent. I mean, they're not the most well-built things in the world. They do have problems. But I made a video about the bad welds on a Kaufman car trailer, and the reason why I know a lot of trailers have bad welds is because of these things. These ones are notorious for having bad welds, but they're so light it doesn't really matter. You know, like on the car trailers, it does matter. I mean, them things are rated for 25,000 pounds, whereas this one's rated for 2,000 pounds. So, you know, when you have that big difference in weight, that's when you notice a lot of problems. You can get away with a lot of things. In car trailers, you got to be pretty much spot on. But anyway, this thing did. The reason why this is here today is because this thing right here, it broke. It's been broken for a while, I guess the guy said. So I'm just gonna fix it. So what I got to do is grind that old weld off of there, and then try to clean up this part the best I can, and put a new weld on there. See what happens. This is not like some glamorous big heavy equipment repair, but this is, you know, a lot of what you get when you're running your own welding business. So I'll get everything set up and get this done in real time here. Alright, we're set up now. We're running the Lincoln off the power coming out of the garage. I could run it off the truck, but I have a garage plug-in right there. And then the bottle gas is the bottle gas from the truck, because air gas sucks, and I'm running 400 PSI of gas for free because they gave us an empty instead of a full one. So besides the point, I wanted to show y'all a trick with these little Lincolns. This one's the 210 MP. I'm gathering you'd have the same problem with any of these little Lincoln MIG welders. I have not had this problem on my Fronius, but the Lincoln is in the truck all the time, whereas the Fronius only goes on, like, you know, 5-10 mile journeys every now and then. So the one problem I was having is when this thing sits in the truck and you don't use it a while, this will unspool. So I just drilled 2 holes in the back of this thing, and I tie it up with the MIG wire. Zip ties would work too if you have a bunch of them. And then there's a hole usually somewhere in your wire spool. If there's not one already there, you can make one, and then just tie it up. You know, it's going to move around a little bit after a while, but you're not going to lose an entire spool of wire due to it on spooling in the truck. I've already put a brand new roll of wire on there, used it for like 2 welds, put it in the truck, didn't use this machine for like a month or 2. I lost the entire roll. I mean, it was completely like bird's nested. I tried rolling it back up and using it, but I mean, we couldn't get hardly nothing to come out of it before it would tangle up. So that's something I came up with. I mean, I don't know if anybody else does that. So we'll clip you guys back on to this trash can here now. And then we'll get this welding repair underway. So first things first is I'm going to grind this old junk off of here. Then, now that I got that cleaned up, what I'm gonna do is just grind a spot on the trailer to connect the ground. Alright, so now I got a spot for the ground. I'm gonna try to lift this thing up, clean this up some. Probably ain't gonna get it perfect. I'm gonna get a wedge bar here. Just want to pick that up enough so I can clean it. Now that we got that end cleaned up, we'll flip the gate up. And then this trailer has little locking tabs right here. We're just gonna engage them things. Well, actually, I'm gonna clean up this other side here real quick. Now that I got that end cleaned up, now I'll go lock this into place here. And that thing's sitting pretty much on the hinge. So I can go ahead and tack that. But I'm gonna make sure I got the clearance I need before I do anything. It is pretty tight, and that might be part of the reason why this thing broke. But I guess if I have to, I'll get a hammer and whack that out a little bit. I'll see if this does anything here. Alright, so now we got a little bit of clearance. I'll go ahead, get this thing tacked together and see if she opens up. We're running 240 inches a minute at 18.5 volts, 75/25 at 40 SCFM or whatever. So we're tacked together there. I'm gonna go ahead and pop these locks back off and see what happens. Alright, so that hinge is definitely a bit froze up, and that's why it broke, I'm assuming. So, it probably hasn't ever been greased. But I'm gonna go ahead and get her greased up. and we're all done. So hopefully it will work. If that doesn't work, I'll go ahead and just cut that off and put a new one on. So that side's locked in again. Now we'll get this side locked in. I'll just weld it completely out, I guess. And let it cool, grease her up, and hopefully it'll be on froze then. Remember the ground. We're definitely boiling some grease out of there, which is okay. Put a big fat weld on there. That way I can, it's biting into a lot of material. Instead of just being a little tiny point weld. Alright, so that weld is actually complete right now. And we got that under there. Still smoking pretty good. It's a triple pass MIG weld. That way there was more material I was getting into. We got a triple pass MIG weld there. You see my weld versus the factory weld. So hopefully it has something more to bite into. Because of heating and cooling effects on metal, we're gonna let that cool down before we try to use it again. I actually forgot about that when I tacked it. I learned this from an Amish guy when we were building stuff that had a lot of pipes that were pivot points. We would weld the big pipe and it would like expand somehow, and like it wouldn't allow it to spin freely or move freely. Then when we would let it cool down, it would move freely. So yeah, we're gonna let it cool down, re-grease it, because I've melted the grease out of there. Unless I'm gathering this guy doesn't grease it too often. And once it's cooled down and greased up, then we'll try to move it again. So I'll leave everything out until I know it works for sure. That way if I have to cut this off and put a new one on, it's not a big deal. Everything will be here. And then I'm going to use some this spray over here. Right here. Since I noticed his coupler is hard to move, I'm just going to free it up with this. While I'm waiting on that. And yeah, we'll have this thing back together. Alright, I'm going to go over another tip for you if you're using this Lincoln machine here. The newer ones I've heard have a different style gun on them, like an updated gun. These 210s were notorious for having like a really cheap feeling gun on them. This is what came with it, the Magnum Pro 175L. I don't know, I mean it works, but it's not that long, and it just feels so cheap in your hands. Like, it feels like you bought this thing at Toys R Us. I mean, it's not like an immediate need that you need a new gun, but this is the gun that came on my Home Depot Lincoln. It's pretty much the same thing, just a little bit bigger. It just feels so cheap. I mean, they work, but then this is the gun I upgraded to, the Magnum Pro 250L, the newer style. They got like this rubber stuff on the back, and then they got this, which helps keep your hand cool when you're welding a lot. And I don't know, it just, like, it feels a lot more robust in your hands. There's some sort of liner in the cups so that the spatter doesn't stick in there as easy. This one's 15 foot long, I think. I think you can get a 25. But it makes your Lincoln 210 feel so much better in your hands when you're using it. I mean, that's what you're using. That's what you're grabbing the majority of the time you're using the welder. So I don't know, I think it makes a big difference. Plus, for some reason, I don't know if it's because the liner's new, but it doesn't sputter as much with that new gun versus this old one. I did also upgrade the ground clamp to a Fronius ground clamp as well, so I don't know if that made a difference either. And then I did end up spraying these hinges too. And then I sprayed this thing here. And then this thing, the guy didn't paint it, is getting rusty. I sprayed that as well. So this thing moves real easy now. The guy didn't tell me to do that, but just using that spray, I mean, I sell that spray, so I don't know, sometimes it's using it on stuff like that makes your customers appreciate what you do a lot more. Plus it's like a free sample of your spray, so I don't know, we'll see. Tips and advice. All right, so I tried to grease it. The greaser is actually blocked up, which is I'm assuming why it froze up in the first place. So I tried one last thing before I cut that off. I sprayed the spray on it again. It's had a little bit of time to soak in there. I mean, it's cooled off, so we'll see if that worked. We'll go ahead and pop these hinges. See if this gate moves at all. If it does not, then we'll just cut them hinges and put new hinges on. And there it goes a little bit. Try and bring it back some. So that freed up that hinge a bit. I need it to get more free though before I go and send this thing off. So I'll drop it down there. Spray it some more. What I'm scared of happening is, since this is so froze up, it may bend this angle. So I don't want to send out a trailer just to have the guy bring it back. So I'm spraying the crap out of this with this spray. That'll free that up some, and then we'll greaser. Get a new greaser in there, and then the grease should do what the grease has to do. It's actually moving fairly free now, not as freely as I would like. So yeah, we'll get a new greaser in there, greaser up, and then we should be good to go. So putting a new greaser in there is not as bad as placing the whole hinge. So should be another satisfied customer. Alright, so after some more finagling here with this thing, I took the grease zerks off and just put some grease through it when there's nothing behind it. And the greaser was actually not froze up. It's something internally in that hinge that's not allowing it to accept grease. So that's why it's important to grease things, even something as stupid as a trailer gate like that. It's just going to keep everything moving a lot more free, and you won't have to pay a welder a couple $100 to do a 15-20 minute job. But I did spray it with more of that. Both hinges I sprayed with that MP spray. So I'll show you on camera. Now this gate moves very freely. So I'm satisfied with that. These spring things move very free as well. So I'm satisfied with that. I don't have to paint the hinge because I sprayed it. Paint's not going to stick at all, but that spray is going to keep it from rusting. So the greases I recommend for these trailers is this amsoil synthetic water resistant grease, right there. It says it's good for marine, power sports, and trailers. You can use it for a lot of other stuff as well. And then, you know, if I don't have that, this stuff works very well as well. The amsoil synthetic multi-purpose grease. I believe these are both an NLGI number 2. Which means it's going to be a little bit thicker than the number 1. More of the commercial guys would use this. This is more of like a homeowner, you know, grease those, like little trailers and stuff like this. This water resistant grease is perfect. But either or, I mean, they're pretty good. You can use other greases as well, but amsoil grease is a lot better. It's actually been tested, and Amsoil has put a lot of money and research into making their greases better than other companies. So I don't know, I use Amsoil grease. I'll leave a link in the description down below if you want to go and pick you up either one of them greases or the spray or anything else Amsoil. And I mean, we even sell grease guns and stuff. I don't have a Amsoil grease gun because I already had a couple, but I do use the grease and it works out really, really well. This MP spray works phenomenal as well. I use it on trailers like this and for a whole bunch of other stuff. The most common use I use it for is these trailers that get froze up on the hitch area. It helps free this up. You know, I've had trailers that you know, I've had to break out the hammer to be able to move that. Since I started using that spray, I mean, this is moving even easier than it did a couple minutes ago. So yeah, I'll leave a link in the description if you want to pick up some of that stuff. I'll get a little bit of money from it because I do sell it. You are buying it from me. But yeah, see ya.